Harsha appears to have been influenced in favor of Buddhism by his elder brother Rajyavardhan II, Param Saugat. Although he was still officially recognized as a Shaivite. However, his widowed sister Rajyashri, a Buddhist herself, appears to have influenced him to become a Mahayanist and the greatest Upasak in the 7th century. Thereafter, though he continued to give grants of villages or awards to Brahmins and others alongside Mahayanis, the Buddha was always the first among the deities and his Mahayana followers among the followers of other creeds. Though he was not intolerant and never persecuted heretics, the last days of his reign were marked by a lack of balance in his religious policy, which created a very unhealthy atmosphere in his kingdom. He was not a very skillful politician because he treated his personal religious inclination as the only appropriate basis for his state policy. After his encounter with the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang, he appears to have turned into an extreme partisan of Buddhism, showing some amount of open partiality and narrow sectarian spirit for the Mahayana, and setting himself to imitate Ashoka so that the narrative of his doings in the later years of his reign reads like a copy of the history of the great Maurya Ashoka. Now King Sasanka. Sasanka, who ruled from about 603 to 620 of the Common Era, was a ruler who is viewed in Buddhist literature as possibly the worst enemy and persecutor of Buddhism, who apparently did not spare any efforts to snuff life out of Buddhism. He ruled over the kingdom of God with its capital at Karanswarna in the first quarter of the 7th century of the Common Era. He was a devotee of Shiva and a fierce rival of King Harshvardhan. The information provided by Banabhatta and Xuanzang seems to indicate that the kingdom of Gauda comprised northwestern Bengal, although for some time the influence of Sasanka may have extended all the way to the Bay of Bengal. Sasanka was not only the first Bengali monarch to have had the vision for an empire, but also the one who nearly succeeded in founding one for himself. But he failed to leave behind an able heir, and the kingdom of God disappeared soon after his death. There are many references to Sasanka in Xuanzang's work that connect him with the acts of oppression against Buddhism. According to him, King Sasanka persecuted the Buddhist Dharma and went to the place of the footprint stone intending to destroy the holy object. He erased the footprints with a chisel, but they reappeared with the same traces and patterns. Xuanzang further says, then Sasanka threw the stone into the Ganges, but it returned to its original place at once. Giving an account of Kushinagar, Xuanzang states that when King Sasanka persecuted the Buddhist Dharma, no company of monks came this way for many years. Further, Xuanzang says that King Sasanka, being a heretical believer, denounced the Buddha Dharma out of jealousy, destroyed monasteries, and cut down the Bodhi tree. When he dug the ground so deep, according to Xuanzang, as to have reached spring water and could not get at the end of the roots, he set fire to burn it and soaked it with sugarcane juice with the intention of making it rotten so as to prevent it from sprouting. Xuanzang also reports that Shashank made an abortive attempt to have the image of Lord Buddha at Bodh Gaya removed and replaced by one of Lord Shiva. So according to him, when King Shashank felled the Bodhi tree, he also wished to destroy the image. But when he looked at the compassionate features of this image, he did not have the heart to do so. At the time of returning home, he told his attendant minister, quote, "You had better remove this image of the Buddha and replace it with that of Maheshwar," unquote. Having received the king's edict, the attendant minister was afraid and said with a sigh, quote, "If I destroy the Buddha's image, I shall suffer disaster for many kalpas. But if I disobey the king's order, I shall not only lose my own life, but also incur the extermination of my entire family. What shall I do in this awkward plight?" Then he called some Buddhist believers to be his servants and had a brick wall built horizontally in front of the Buddha's image. As he was ashamed to see the image in utter darkness, he lit a lamp for it. On the front of the brick wall, he drew a picture of Maheshwar, and when this was done, he made a report to the king. Upon hearing the report, the king dreaded the consequences. He suffered from blisters all over his body, and his skin became cracked, and before long he died. The author of Arya Manjushri Mool Kalp also sports the tradition of Shashank's hostility to Buddhism and reports that Shashank took oath of wicked intellect will destroy the beautiful image of the Buddha. He of wicked intellect, enamored of the words of the Tirthakas, will burn that great bridge of religion Dharma as prophesied by the former Jinnas Buddhas. Then that angry and greedy evildoer of false notions and bad opinions will fell down all the monasteries, gardens and chaityas and rest houses of the Jainas in their Granthas, unquote.